All right. Ah, come on. Oh, Rizzy portfolio time. Okay, so I took a poll on my Instagram account. It's down below if you want to follow it, but I mean, like, you don't have to, but like, it'd be nice. I'm kidding. I took a poll, and you guys said that you wanted me to make a portfolio video, and so I will. First, I'm gonna explain the Rizzy portfolio process. If I can remember it, from what I recall, I had to take the ACTs, SATs. I had to apply through Common App and write, the Common App essay. I think that Rizzy is no longer going to require ACT, SAT, but I mean, who could say? I don't know if I'm right or not. Sorry, I'm looking out my window because someone else's window is looking straight into my window, and I am worried that they're gonna think I'm weird. Rizzy also got rid of the bike drawing. I know that in the past you had to draw a bike, and it was like that big thing, the bike assignment, but they got rid of it. At least like when I applied, I didn't have to do it. They might have brought it back by the time you see this, but yeah, that's basically the bare bones. You have to submit 12 to 22 items. I submitted 22. And honestly, it doesn't hurt you to submit more. There's no harm in it. You might as well give them as much as you can. If it's something you're not proud of, don't submit it just so you can hit that 22 limit of images you can submit. I sort of cheated that limit, and I'll show you later. But yeah, just follow along, and I will take you through this. Okay, so for the Rizzy assignment, you do prompts, and we're gonna get into that at the end because that's I did the prompts last actually. But you have to basically, for the prompts, you pick one prompt that they set out, and you have to do 2 responses to that, and you have to write about that. And I'm assuming that the writing is always going to be very important. You have to learn how to explain yourself. Anyway, on to the portfolio. So the first item is what I titled Wig Series. It was charcoal and pastel acrylic on gesso paper. It's actually a diptych, so I kind of cheated the system, and I made like a slide with 2 images on it, and they're basically 2 different pieces, but because they're related, I said it was a diptych. And basically, I just took a wig and I put it on a stand, and also with like the different cloths as well. In the other picture, you'll see it'll be up there, and I drew it. And it's really good because it shows that you can draw things in detail, like the hair. I drew the individual strands and used the eraser to kind of erase for the highlights. What I wrote about it was that it was based off of theater, and like, because wigs you wear when you were in the theater. And the thing that helped me make that connection was because that wig was brown, and the wig I wore when I played Sandy in my school's production of Grease was brown, and I just wrote about that. And like, because basically when you apply to colleges, they like a well-rounded student, and when you can't really fit that into your essay, it kind of actually, the advantage of being an art student and submitting a portfolio is that you can put that into the description, kind of allude to it. So like, I don't think I really talked about theater in my essay, but in this I did. And they're like, oh yeah, she does this, she does other stuff besides art. It's interesting. Colleges go nuts for extracurriculars. Let me just say that. They like it when people have other interests, because especially here, you want to be able to branch out and be open to a lot of things. So yeah, many ways you can cheat the system. I wouldn't call it cheating, but I mean, it's technically sort of like cheating. Anyway, the next piece is called Here's to the Memories, and it's another theater kind of thing. And again, try to shove as much of your personality into this, into your portfolio, so they can get to know you. Because this isn't just about like seeing how good you are at art. It's also them getting to know your personality, because art is kind of like where your personality comes out the most. But yeah, the second one was about theater as well. It was watercolor and sumi ink on paper. And it was just random scenes, random photos that people had taken during our show of Grease, and also anything goes. I was a big theater kid. The third piece is called The Birdman, and it sort of connected back to my wig series thing. It's made of synthetic hair, like doll hair, wire, paper, clay, twine, and linen. And I molded like a little man out of clay and wire, and then I like sort of wrapped it with linen. I made like wings out of linen, and I sewed and also glued hair on top to make him look kind of like a very furry Birdman. I made the description like, you know, hair is like a symbol of freedom and many types of media, hence the phrase is letting down one's hair, the wind in your hair, out of your hair. However, when faced with too much freedom, you can become just as restricted if you had no freedom at all. And that was sort of the symbolism behind the Birdman. And yeah, on to the next one. Crap. Okay. The fourth one is a still life. So I took this Korean kite. My art teacher had a kite lying around, and we took her lamp and put it on the floor. It was basically just, we just took random items and set them up, and it's charcoal and pastel. It was really, this is really fun to do because I really like doing dramatic lighting, and it's kind of frustrating, but looking back at it, I'm like, wow, I'm actually still really proud of it. You know, because I struggled a lot like with this piece because of all the sequins, and the kite especially always looked kind of wonky. The fifth one is leaving the past behind. It is sort of, because like I applied originally as FAV, film animation video. I think that's what it stands for. I think I might be going to illustration. I'm still in freshman year. Who knows what's gonna happen, but yeah, RISD is non-declaring the first year, but you do have to kind of like put in the subject you're interested in, and I put animation, so I put a bunch of like comics and animation style things in here, so you'll sort of see that throughout my portfolio. Leaving the past behind is sort of like, I took, like, there's like a video of a parrot, and you go frame by frame to the most dynamic shots, and I just, you know, took a big piece of paper, it's like this big, and it's like 47 inches by 33 inches, if that makes any sense. And I just, you know, drew the parrot on. I did charcoal on the bottom, and then like did the colors on top of the oil pastel, kind of like an underpainting and an overpainting. Okay, the sixth one is a more sensitive topic. It's called There Are No Words, and it's this huge 72 inch by 52 inch oil and acrylic painting on a giant just roll of canvas. And it was right after the I painted it during the student-led walkouts for gun control. But yeah, it was basically, I made it as big as I could because it, you know, I wanted to make a very big statement. Number 7 is the sundials. It's a charcoal and pastel and brown paper, and it's another still life drawing. It's a picture basically of the plants that were in my chemistry classroom, and again, another kind of like piece of information that I can fit into my essay. You know, I like chemistry. I had fun in chemistry. I complained about it to my friends, but you know, I enjoyed the class. It's my favorite science, and you know, I talked about how much I liked the class and, you know, the sciences as well as the arts in the description. And it, again, it helps. It kind of like tells a bit more about yourself, more well-rounded. Oh yeah, but it was 47 inches by 33 inches. Just because like I had a bunch of papers that were that size, so most of them were that size. Number 8 is called The Rainy Sidewalk, and it's another observational piece, charcoal on paper, and it's 21 inches by 30 inches. It's an observational drawing of a street in South Korea near the fishing areas during a camping trip. I forget which area that was, but you know, took a photo. I really liked it. Number 9 is called The Seven Brothers. I painted it with Sumi ink, India ink, and watercolor on Bristol board. It's 21.5 inches by 47 inches, and it was basically just based off of the, what's it called? It was based off of the Tale of the Seven Brothers. It was basically based off of the Tale of the Seven Brothers. You know, if you search it up on Google, it'll come up, but it was just, you know, me kind of, you know, showing them, oh yeah, I like doing sequential art. It's still all grayscale mainly, but I put it in because I just really liked it, to be honest. There's nothing deep behind it. I just liked it. Also, I did this at the RISD pre-college. So I mean, I guess you could put that in. It's like, oh yeah, I've shown prior interest in your school before. Just letting you know. Yeah. Okay. Number 10 is The Butterfly Conspiracy, and this is like sort of like the first comic series I ever tried. I crashed and burned, and if you see my how to make comics video, you'll see why. But it's ink and also digital. I colored it digitally. It's 8.27 inches by 11.69 inches, A4 paper, and it's basically just the comic. I wanted to show my more sequential art, just kind of like, because, you know, I went from so basically the order you put your stuff in your portfolio is important. I went from observational stuff, very dark black and white and all that, to more colorful stuff, to my my more like creative work stuff. You know, it's like it has a flow to it, you know. If you just flip through it, then you can kind of like gauge that flow, but it's all just very subjective. But yeah, okay. So next is my self-portrait, and it's titled "Wait, No." It's 33 inches by 47 inches, watercolor on paper. I also like in the side put because like in the painting I'm painting something. And that was actually based off of a painting I painted like in I think that was freshman year, yeah. For my IGCSE final for art. It's kind of bad, but you know, I put it in there to be like, oh yeah, you know, it's like kind of like a funny kind of like joke thing, you know? And so I put descriptions for both of those images actually, so I could, you know, bring some more deepness into it, that literary kind of feel. The painting Wait No is, you know, it's like just like a funny illustration, because you know, it's me drinking my paint water and dipping my paintbrush into my coffee cup, which has actually happened to me before. By the way, self-portraits are always great to include because it's something that, you know, you are your own reference. Just put up a mirror, and you can even practice making expressions, be like, and you know, just draw that in your sketchbook. It's a great exercise. I mean, and it's good practice too. So I would suggest doing that in your sketchbook if you submit a sketchbook. It's not mandatory, but I did, which I'll get into later. After that, it's just, you know, figure drawing. So if the first one is, I just titled them Croquis 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. I don't know how many I put in. It's all charcoal and paper. They're all like, you know, I just went to a figure drawing class. To be honest, these aren't very good. They're actually really bad looking at them. They're very kind of disproportionate. And I wish I had used some white charcoal, because looking at these kind of make me kind of sad. The second one with the man is also weirdly disproportionate, but it is dynamic, which is good. You know, it's very free. It's good to have freedom in your lines when you're doing figure drawings. Keep track of shadows and line quality, which is something I might make a video on. But yeah, these are really, I mean, they're like 3 minutes each, I think. But yeah, I would actually do these over if I could. Sorry. Oh, okay, number 14 is a comic that I made for my English class, actually, called Camp Lake Town. And again, it was like one of my the only finished comic piece I had at the time. So I wanted to submit that, and I like the colors in it. The art in it, again, is not that good when I look back on it. But, you know, because I made this in like, what, junior year? But, you know, it's, you know, sequential art. It shows that you can write a story. It shows that you have other interests outside of just fine art. It shows that you know what, I guess this is fine art. I don't know. It just, you know, it just shows more about you. I applied to animation again, so I put in comics, because animation is all about storytelling. Portfolios should vary from whatever, you know, major you're trying to apply to. RISD, again, is non-declare, but, you know, it's still kind of like, try to keep a theme. So So, okay, after that is my comic Aquaphobia, actually. The first 22 pages of it, which I had already finished by then. And if you want to check out Aquaphobia in like its full glory, I guess, well, you can check the description down below because I have links to that. And also, I have several videos of me painting pages if you want to check them out. If you want. No pressure. But yeah, this was my first serious comic project, and then it's still ongoing. Actually, I'm still painting pages for it, and it's you know, it's more on the fine art side. It showcases my ability to do watercolor, and it's a lot better than the art from Camp Lake Town. I feel like if I hadn't included this and just done Camp Lake Town, they would have been like. I'm sorry if I'm rushing, by the way. My voice is kind of sore. Okay, number 16 is another comic called Rosemary and the Cat, which I also did at the RISD Pre-College. And it's an accordion book. Search it up if you don't know what that is, but I'll have an image up there somewhere. And it's like you know, India ink, Sumi ink, and watercolor, and it's interesting because all four of the comics that I submitted are with different mediums and different styles, and that's again showing diversity, I guess. And they also have very different themes and very different like ways, like color palettes, and you know, it's good. You know, that's a good thing to do. Again, show diversity, show adaptability. It's good for you as an artist in general. Okay, so another comic-ish. It's like a pop-up book, actually. So it's not really a comic. It's called The Ides of Peter Hills pop-up book. I did it with Sumi ink, India ink, and watercolor on paper. And each page is like 36 inch. That's not right. I think I submitted the wrong size. It's all black, white, red. It kind of shows like my ability with watercolor. Again, I do a lot of watercolor. Like I say to experience different mediums, but I just keep crawling back. But the pop-up book is something that's a different concept for me. I've never done that before. It's my first time doing it, so you know, I included that, and they're like, oh yeah, she's willing to experiment with different things. 18, Claw Machine, another observational, and it's a mix of charcoal, pastel, acrylic paint on paper. And I mean, there's not much to say about it. I just took a picture of a claw machine and drew it. It was really fun to do. This is my Rebecca 3D miniature, and it's just basically a model of a character that I had from the Butterfly Conspiracy, which I mentioned earlier. And you know, 3D work is always good to include. You know, kind of like give yourself some more dimension. Especially because I've done just mainly 2D stuff. Put some sculpture stuff in as well. It's always good to have some diversity again. Sculpey, wire, paper, clay, acrylic paint. That's what it's made out of. And yeah, you'll see it up there. I also included reference images that I used, like a turnaround of the character and some character sheets, which you'll see there. Okay, and number 20 is construction site, and basically I made a larger model of that miniature model I showed previously, but you know, I'm kind of, again, with the whole theme with the portfolio, you're leading up to it like a path. So this construction site was like sort of like, this is like the work in progress. It's like a drawing of the work in progress, and you know, it was good practice because I had some kind of, I had a bunch of different materials on there. You know, my tools, I had foam, tape. That tape was really fun to draw, by the way. I had a good time. You know, I had the goggles that I had made for her, and you know, cellophane, tons of materials to do. Just, you know, draw as many different surfaces as you can. Just draw as much as you can. Drawing is so important. Anyway, charcoal and pastel on just a paper, that's what it was. Okay. This one is my favorite, Rebecca 3D from the Butterfly Conspiracy. This is by far the most complicated project that I have ever done, because it's like I made a full-on life-size bust, as in like I took a hat mannequin and I molded a face onto it with wire and, you know, foam and clay, and I had spray painted it and sanded it down because it got really weird, and painted over, and, you know, basically I was constructing a whole ass face. I constructed a face for my portfolio, guys. Yeah, but it was basically because, you know, I wanted to do animation. They usually make 3D models of things, usually not busts like this, but it's mainly like small little maquettes, but I wanted to make something that had a lot of detail to it, something that would be impressive. And I think this is like kind of like the crown jewel of my portfolio, I guess, because I spent so much time on it, so much effort on it. It was hot because I made it in the summer. It paid off because I remember like that like happy little kind of like you know, when I went to the portfolio night and they were like, oh, this is interesting, I've never seen that before, and I'm like, damn right you didn't. I don't mean to sound cocky, I'm just like really happy that like, well, happy that I'm done making it, and also happy that like, you know, that people liked it, and, you know, I just, you know, it's so nice to be appreciated sometimes. But yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this one. I wish I had filmed the process because it was such a freaking journey. But yeah. If anyone has any questions on this one, I will gladly answer. It's my favorite piece. Okay, and the last piece is the sketchbook. I'm not gonna explain this one because I have a video, full sketchbook tour on my YouTube channel already, but maybe like later on I'll make a sort of like I'll like go through it, because I have it with me right now. It's over there. I might go through it and like just roast the living hell out of it, because some of the drawings in it, looking back on it, are just really weird and not good. So yeah, going on to the assignments. So I forget what the other prompts were, but I chose the prompt verify, and if you search it up, I'm sure you could find all the other prompts from that year. But yeah, basically, so this is the first response, called Apache Recollection, and it was a self-portrait, and it was basically like, you know, the construction of my identity throughout my childhood. It was made with acrylics, charcoal, pastels, I think. No, it was acrylics with, I drew it with charcoal and I painted acrylic over it for the color. I took like pieces of different Disney characters, and also my wig, I braided it because, you know, to look like Fiona from Shrek, because I don't know, I just really like, I really liked Shrek. It's a good movie. Fight me. I tried to portray all these things that I tried to portray, and also like borrowed from other characters, because we are influenced by what we see. And it's like, is this like, I used this for verify because when it comes to something as subjective as a personality, this implies that humanity can be attributed to some sort of solid definition rather than the ever-changing creatures we are. And I think that one's personality is in no small part derived from one's own experience and how they interpret them in tandem. So if I were to further develop this, again, like they tell you to talk about how you would further improve on this piece, which is, yeah, so I talked about how I would further develop this. I said that I would play with the vibrancy, and I would see how defined I can make each image, and how like that would affect the message. And my second response is called I Am Not a Robot. This is really interesting. Okay, so basically, I took a full mannequin, and I was lucky to get one for free because someone had used it to make a mold or something, and they just gave it to me because they didn't want it anymore. I took a mannequin and I painted over it to make them like really kind of like ghostly pale, and like also to add like actual normal skin tones, because her skin was like weirdly like orange and tacky. So yeah, I painted like, I made it so that it looked like there were flesh tones. Like I added the subtle reds and the greens and the blues, and that was really fun, by the way. I then set her up like, you know, against like a giant like background, you'll see it, and I project images onto her, and it, you know, the I am not a robot thing, and it conveys our desire to prove ourselves in society as humans who fit the expectations imposed on us. That was basically the whole kind of like thing, right? And I painted a mannequin to look like uncannily human, like the perfect model, but like not quite there, because they're like foreign, they're like weird, they're like alien almost. And the harsh colors and chaotic projections derived from captchas and images of computer glitches, they overtake her figure and they obscure her natural appearance. And it's like I talked to how there was like a rift between our personalities and our personalities in real life, and all the anonymity we possess behind the scene. It grants us permission to say whatever comes to our minds. And it's all like, you know, how do you separate the truth from the lies? How do you, like, what do you project onto yourself? What really is you? Is it what you say online, or is it what you do in real life? And I just talked about that, and I said for improving, I would have like experimented with the different levels of chaos, the plainness of the model's skin, maybe different skin tones, which would have been interesting, and different colors of lighting. But yeah, that's literally all I did for my portfolio. That's my portfolio. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, see you around. Crap, my tea, no! Ugh.